Unleash your space wings! To infinity and beyond!
Not a flying toy.
Get your Buzz Lightyear action figure and save a galaxy near you! Buzz Lightyear!
Available at all Al's Toy Bound outlets in the Tri-County area.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we're getting into a batch of video games based off an IP near and dear to my heart, and especially the generation that I come from. We're talking about Toy Story in celebration of the movie launching Lightyear. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to check it out. It's right here, smack dab next to my birthday, so it feels like this movie was just tailor-made for me. And with that, I wanted to reflect on the Toy Story video games. And there's been some stinkers. There have also been some really good ones. One in particular that doesn't get nearly enough conversation. We are going to be shouting it out big time in this video. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here, you're into more nostalgia content, retrospectives, old school reviews, you are in the right place. Consider subscribing. Now let's talk about the Toy Story video games. So I mentioned some were stinkers. Let's get those out of the way first, shall we? The Game Boy Color. Yes, so we had to break out the old GBC for this. If you're wondering why some of the gameplay looks pretty good on this, it's because we modded this atomic purple Game Boy Color. We put an IPS screen in it, so it's gonna look nice and vibrant compared to your traditional Game Boy Colors. Keep that in mind if you want to see me put all of that together. There's a video here on the channel, and I'll just warn you now, I'm not good at this tech stuff, so I do embarrass myself a couple of times, especially when I start to solder things. Not pretty, but anyway, not the point, not what you're here for. Just wanted to let you all know. Well, now let's talk about Toy Story 1 and 2 on the Game Boy Color. These games fall in the same league as this game. You remember this from our Remembering the Batman video games video? Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. You know, if anyone ever nowadays complains about what superhero games are like, what movie tie-in games are like, I want you to walk a day in my shoes and tell me you got it bad. Because when we were kids, we got the bottom of the barrel when it came to these tie-in video games. They were so bad. I don't know how else to put it. I know this is a channel about celebrating games, but sometimes we just gotta keep it real. These games were not good. So, Toy Story, the original Toy Story Game Boy Color game, the frame rate, it's incredible. It's at like 6 frames a second when I'm trying to platform with Woody. And I believe for some reason, Woody's not his usual color. It's a weird looking game. It really truly is. And fortunately, this screen actually helps with certain games like Toy Story 2 pop a little bit more. Because I remember playing Toy Story 2 on the original Game Boy Color when I was a kid, and it looked like something straight from Satan. Like, I don't know what happened, but there was some freaky looking pixel art in this game. There were some creepy enemy designs. This game is cursed. Toy Story 2, okay? Toy Story 1, as simple as it gets. It's a platformer. There's a lot of text walls. It's amazing that how far gaming has come. That's the one thing that I really appreciated, if anything, going back to these two for this video, was, wow, it's so different now, how much the quality bar is raised, where you usually started these games off with like one wall of text, here's your mission objective, go play. And there is a novelty to that, but these games are not the ones that I'm here to reflect on. They're not great, but they were definitely, again, this was like the wombo combo as a kid. I remember playing both of these a lot. I had this on Nintendo 64, as many of you know, but these hurt bad. They hurt bad. But, you know, it was that situation. I didn't have a lot of money growing up, so you just kept playing and kept playing it, slowly descending into insanity, but it all paid off. Here we are today talking about it, so it was worth something. Okay, let's keep going now with some pretty cool games. This one I had just found out about. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I did not know that this game or even the show existed, but when I did find out about it, when researching for this video, I absolutely picked it up. It's called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, and as you can see on the top right, it's based on the new Disney Pixar TV series. On the back, it says, calling all intergalactic space rangers. Only you, Buzz Lightyear, and your elite space ranger team can defeat the evil Emperor Zurg and his bad guys in their dark quest for universal domination, to infinity and beyond. Blast off with power-ups like shields, rockets, homing weapons, and lightning beams. Fight on jetpacks, hoverboards, jet bikes, and more. Explore 14 levels and 8 amazing 3D worlds, including Planet Z. Anytime I see Zurg now, I can't help but think of Kingdom Hearts 3 and how in the Toy Story world they didn't have Zurg boss fight. That was all I dreamed of. Now anytime I see him, it's like a horrible reminder. Anyway, cracking it open, pretty simple disc art here, or really lack thereof. This was by Activision. Activision, for as much as I don't like them nowadays, had their hands all over our childhood when you really think about it. Like for me, it was these games, right? We have, of course, the Marvel games they had a licensing deal with, Tony Hawk, Call of Duty. They really had their finger on the pulse on what was going to click, and they made their money. So let's take a look at the manual. I don't own many PS1 games, so it's always interesting to me. Like, actually, I don't think I owned a PS1 at all growing up. So I always find it fascinating that the cover art is the instruction manual. If I can actually get it out, that is. There we go. I found it interesting here on the back, right when you open it, you can see that there's Toy Story 2 promotional work, which we'll talk about afterwards, but they're already promoting the next game for the movie, and it says the work of a space hero is never done. And again, you're playing as Buzz Lightyear in this whole game because everyone loved Buzz. So let's crack open the manual. Now, this one I found particularly disappointing. You know, you look at how colorful the art is here. It's Pixar. I thought that this manual was going to slap. And in fact, it slapped me in the face is what it did. You know, look, these are the early 2000s where color was a thing that was common in manuals. So this was a tremendous L back then. It's an even more tremendous L today in 2022. Now, what it does tell you is Buzz Lightyear's moves. As always, you have the little postcard that you can send into Activision in Los Angeles, California. You can fill out all the data on how you found out about the game. They walk you through all the weapons that you can get in the game, all the little pickups you can get. And yeah, like I said, this manual could have been a lot prettier. I found it interesting when tabbing through as well. As you can see here, the missions in the game, they walk you through all the missions. Imagine that. Imagine like cracking open Persona 5 and they just tell you what every palace is. I'm just like, what? Why would you do that? Anyway, gaming wasn't as celebrated as an art back then, clearly. So that's what you get in a complete in-box copy of Buzz Lightyear Star Command. This was about, I'd say, 15, 20 bucks. Not that expensive. Here's how I describe it. It's like Crash Bandicoot, but you're playing as Buzz Lightyear. The issue, and why I'd recommend probably emulating it, is because it's the PS1, you didn't have the analog stick, so some of the movement you'll see in my gameplay, it's just doesn't feel great at times. But if it were on an analog stick, this game would be really fun. It's, again, like Crash Bandicoot, just go forward, go straight, some platforming challenges. And what happens is with each mission, you have a target that Buzz Lightyear is hunting down. Now, you can only fight them in this boss arena at the end of the level. So you can't grab them midway through and start fighting them there. That would have been really cool, especially for its time. So you have to make sure you stay close to them, you keep going through the level at a decent pace, because if you don't, a timer starts counting down. And as it starts counting down, you have to make sure that you are near the boss, otherwise you'll fail the mission and replay it. However, I didn't find this too bad, because when I failed the first mission, I replayed it, and you realize how quick these missions are, especially when you can just run straight through them sometimes. Like, that was, to me, one of the most surprising aspects of it, is the pickups, and sometimes like getting on a little jet board and riding it around and jumping through parts of the level that typically I wouldn't have been able to at the speed I was going at, and having kind of forgiving quick loads when I die or fell off the edge. I don't know. I really was impressed with this game, though. Again, it doesn't control well, where I would suggest probably emulating it, just because the analog stick will allow you to kind of pick your direction you can go in. Whereas, you know, with the D-pad, which you had to use on the PS2 when I was playing it via back compat, it doesn't feel that excellent. But again, this was a really nice discovery, because I was thinking, like, hey, what Buzz Lightyear games are out there? Of course, I know about Toy Story 2. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what Buzz Lightyear games are there? And I didn't even know this show existed, and I loved Toy Story growing up. So I kind of felt like, whoa, this is an amazing discovery. So yeah, this one was really cheap on the PS1. Check it out if you have yet to. Let's keep moving along to one that I know a lot of you hold near and dear to your hearts, Toy Story 2. Now, this was also on the Nintendo 64. Keep that in mind. I went with the PS1 because not only is it way cheaper, I did play this originally on N64, but this is way cheaper, and it is the better version of the game. So if you're going to collect this, get this version. Again, about 20 bucks. PS1 games are generally really cheap. We'll probably be talking about them at some point in the future, thanks to PS Plus Premium and what that back compat programs offering. So we'll revisit these types of PS1 games shortly. Anyway, Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. Flipping it over, it says, The countdown to the adventure is on. As space hero Buzz Lightyear, you've got your hands full. Your best buddy Woody has been kidnapped by a greedy toy collector, and it's going to be an all-out race against time to save him. It's all up to you, Buzz Lightyear, to the rescue. Spin, spring, somersault, and bounce through 15 colorful, action-packed levels. Use cool toy accessories like an arm laser and rocket jet boots to complete your missions. Enjoy fast and fun 3D gameplay with your favorite characters from the movie. Cracking it open again, much more artistic, yes? Look at that. Let's just quickly compare the two, right? That's a way bigger difference there. So, yes, they were really feeling themselves when making Toy Story 2. Let's take a look at the manual, which, funny enough, also has a promotion for Toy Story 2 on the back, similar to what we saw for Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Check that out. They're different ads. Like, this is a thing that's saying it's available now. This is just, I guess, more promotion for the game that you just bought. Hey, check that out. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Cracking this one open. I hate to tell you all, but same story here. Kind of disappointing manual. Really could have done better. Toy Story is one of the most colorful, inventive, fun-loving IP, and they just have black and white here. Now, they do go to the length of, like, writing a whole breakdown of what's happening here. All the toys are together in Andy's room. Buzz and Rex are playing the Buzz Lightyear video game. Woody excitedly prepares for his annual trip to cowboy camp with Andy, but when Woody's arm is accidentally torn, he has to stay home, and so on and so forth. You all know how it goes. But yeah, they walk you through all the collectathon things that you can do in this game with the coins, the mini bosses, the puzzles, the races, all the things that you can do, all the platforming things you can do, pole climbing, zip line sliding, pushing stuff, stomping, aiming in first person, the characters that you should keep an eye out for, as you'll probably recognize throughout the gameplay that you're going to see, Slinky, Ham, all those good ones. Again, much like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, they spoil all of the levels inside here in all the zones. I found this to be quite disappointing. So I don't know why they do this stuff, man. But different time back then. Anyway, that's what you'd get in a complete in-box copy of Toy Story 2 on PlayStation 1. Let's talk about the game. So this is where we start to get into GOAT territory. This is a tie-in game that really defined my childhood. And it is a far cry away from this guy over here. Completely different version. As always, and what I talk about a lot is I loved the double dip as a kid, right? It was the more safer purchase. I didn't have a lot of money, so for me, I talked about it a lot with Star Wars Episode 3. You got the PS2 version, and then you get the DS or Game Boy Advance version, and it's the similar style game, but you have to play them differently. Like, one was a side-scroller, one's a 3D action game. Kind of similar thing here, funny enough, except one's terrifying. It's a horror game. So, Toy Story 2. What's great about this game is that it lets you connect with the movie. It seemed to be, to me growing up, the first game that when I reflect on, I go, this understood the purpose of a movie tie-in game. Getting closer to the things you love about the movie. So when you see all these scenes from Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2, you're like, I want to run around and be there. At least I do, because I thought it was so cool how, like, Buzz Lightyear had his own video game and he was a toy that was alive. And it just felt like sometimes when I was a kid, I played with action figures all the time. I still have all my action figures. And I always say one day I want to do an action figure video here on the channel, and just for pure nostalgia. But I always like wondered, like, if I won't leave my room, like, well, I see my action figures run around and talking to each other, and they all just drop the moment I come back in the room. I don't know. It was something that as a kid you could really buy into. So connecting deeper to it meant a lot. So Toy Story 2 was great because you would have these 3D open levels with lots of little challenges that you can complete. As you complete the challenges, you'll get Pizza Planet tokens that allow you to go to other levels. But what happened is it took the movie and stretched it out in intelligent ways. So you go into Andy's room, then Andy's neighborhood, and you so on and so forth, continue exploring different zones of Toy Story. And it would just be these crazy fun hubs. Like, you'd have races that you could do, you'd have little collectible challenges you could do. It was just a really thoughtful game, and I loved it because, again, I got to interact with Rex. I got to interact with Ham and give him 50 coins for a Pizza Planet token. And how do I get these coins? And so you start running around the level seeing what you can do to get more. And it just adds up. It's a collectathon at its heart, but it's a really charming one. And it's the start, I think, of truly good tie-in games, for me at least, right? I know before this I talked about retro Batman games here on the channel. I know there were things like that. back in the early 90s, the mid 90s that people did play. I was yet to exist at that point, so pardon me for that. But yeah, Toy Story 2 to me was the beginning of something kind of special, and it's why I always had faith in tie-in games, because of this bad boy right here. So Toy Story 2, still to this day worth a playthrough, by the way. I can't really wholeheartedly recommend these two. Sorry, can't do that. I think Buzz Lightyear Star Command for you Crash fans out there would be great, but this is one that I really do highly recommend you give a look. But now, let's move on to one of the final games that I'd like to talk about. I don't have the complete in-box copy, so I do apologize for that, but I want to talk about on PS1 as well. PS1 was just like the Toy Story generation, it seems. Toy Story Racer. I think, again, this is a moment where they saw something working with like Mario Kart and were like, let's do this. And it wasn't like perfect, but it was really fun to play. I remember this one a lot, and I wish I did have the copy for you all here today, so I do apologize for that. Just, we have to be timely with our recordings. If anyone wants a quick explanation with all of the upcoming conferences that we're going to do and cover on Mr. Matty Plays, I want to make sure I have Retro Rebound well and taken care of. So a lot of this stuff is being pre-recorded in advance, so I did have to make the sacrifice there. So I do appreciate your understanding. I know I love showing these complete in-box copies. We still have some more, so fret not. But yeah, when it comes to Toy Story Racer, it was kind of a similar vibe to Toy Story 2, where you got to see these places you were really familiar with, but now they're turned into racetracks. And I just love that. I thought it felt really great to play. That was a ton of fun, being able to pick whoever you wanted to play as a kart racer in Toy Story. And it made sense. Like, these are toys. Like, of course they're going to race around. I used to have, as a kid, the I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, the carpet. It's a race car carpet that you would just zoom your cars around. And it's iconic for my generation. And so to me, like, just seeing that, and I think of all the Hot Wheels I had, and I think of Toy Story Racer, it was awesome. Because as a lot of people don't probably know here on this channel, because we do talk about Nintendo a lot, but I really wasn't a Nintendo kid growing up at all. I didn't play Mario Kart, Mario Party, Zelda, Metroid. I didn't play any of the cool, popular games that all the Nintendo YouTubers play. They didn't really interest me. I was more interested in like Toy Story and saying like, oh, they did a racer for that. That's more appealing. So that's where the game really connected for me. But last but certainly not least, we got to talk about Toy Story 3. Okay? The heartstring tugger, Toy Story 3. Now, the Toy Story 3 complete in-box experience is immaculate. As you can see, we have two different copies here that I learned about when researching. So this is the normal version. This is what came with my GameStop copy. And you'll see that, unfortunately, no manual. So I went to go look for a manual. No one was selling that. So then I ended up finding this limited version with the silver cover instead of the black cover. And I thought, well, you know what? I love this game so much that I want to have the best version. So on the back, it says Unleash Your Imagination, the toy box mode, which we'll talk about a lot, and then the story mode. And this toy box mode is a game changer. Opening it up, as you can see, the discs are slightly different as well. This one has a 3 on it, much like the logo. This is kind of like the ball, and both work. I don't know why they're like this, but it's really an interesting situation here. There's no additional DLC that comes with it. It's the same exact game. It just looks a little different, so I decided, hey, why not cop it? All right, so what's interesting is, as you saw with something like Toy Story 2, where the manual was, let's just relive this disappointment one more time together as a family, if I can get this out here. As you can see, no color, right? Really strange for this time period. Extremely disappointing nonetheless, as I've noted already. However, when you go on over to Toy Story 3, get ready. 1, 2, 3, color. Check this out. How nuts is this? Usually it's the opposite on Retro Rebound, as we've all learned. The farther you go, the less color there is. But now, here we are with this game coming out, and I believe, what was it, 2010, right? That's usually when we start to see less color, but now we have more color compared to the early 2000s. It's weird, man. Anyway, they talk about the toy box mode, the new missions, toys, and customization you can go through. I'll talk about that in just a moment. All of the controls you have in Toy Story 3, and then a note section as well as connecting to Xbox Live, plus the customer support stuff. Not the craziest manual, but you know what? We'll take it. Comparatively speaking, it blows the rest of them out of the water, and it's the newest and, in my opinion, best game in the bunch. This is the best movie tie-in video game of all time. No hyperbole. I did a whole entire presentation in front of an audience of people saying why this is one of the best games of all time. And a lot of people thought it was a joke. It was not a joke, I promise you. Toy Story 3 is actually God tier. And I need to tell you why. This is available on back compat. So you can buy this game if you're like a Series X owner. You can fire it up. If you're an Xbox One owner, you can fire it up. It is backwards compatible because that's how good it is. They had to leaf through all the licensing deals to get it to work, and they did for good reason. Toy Story 3 is defined by, as it says on the back of the box, the toy box mode. Now, the story mode is great. It's these linear levels that are the moments in the movie. It's very competent. Like, there's third-person shooting sections with Buzz Lightyear that feel really good. There are moments where you're just platforming as Jessie, where you're running around as Woody. I mean, all of them have their own gameplay style, so it feels very good in that regard. However, what made me love Toy Story 3, to the point where I even have a Let's Play over on Mr. Matty Plays, and I'm just going to warn you now about my language. I got a lot of complaints from parents who are looking up that game for their kid, and yeah, high school Matty wasn't keeping it clean.
What kind of dickhead move is that, game?
But Toy Story 3 blew my socks off when I played it in high school. I bought it as a joke, and this toy box mode is insane. So as it says on the back, it is an open world Toy Story experience. Have you ever sat there and thought, what would happen if GTA came to Toy Story? You probably haven't outside of modding, but guess what? They did it first over at Avalanche Studios, and they made Toy Story 3. So what happens is you go around this open world area, literally, and you complete missions, and as you complete missions, you can build houses, build businesses. These businesses will produce income for your town, so there's almost like a town sim element here. And as you do this, you can customize like how all of your citizens look, you know, putting funny hats on them. You can customize how the houses look, and you unlock more and more challenges. I remember when I played this version, I will always and forever remember this experience. I was recording the Let's Play for it, and I was doing it for the linear levels, okay? And I'm playing it, and I'm playing the sandbox mode, and I'm thinking it's just one level, because they naturally, after the first mission in the game, bring you into the sandbox. And I'm thinking like, wow, this is a big level. And I just got lost in it. I recorded this episode for probably 4 hours, just without even realizing, not even thinking, totally invested. It's just such a compelling gameplay experience, and I'm not exaggerating. I know you think I'm memeing you, like, oh, this game, Maddie, like, it's Toy Story 3 girl. No, you don't get it. You could be a grown adult. It doesn't matter. This game is really, really, really good. Just the open world elements, the collectathon nature that harkens back to Toy Story 2, but evolving on it, customizing your village, the unlockables there, because as you do different things in the town, you'll go to the Al's Toy Barn little booths, and you can spend your coins on different challenges and zones that you could unlock. Sound familiar? Toy Story 2 was built into zones, so it not only respects one of the best movie tie-in games that was in the early generation, it builds off the back of it and makes what is the best tie-in video game of all time. No exaggeration. Look, if there's one truth about tie-in games and why it's frustrating to play some of them, they don't have to be good. A lot of people see, hey, movie that I like, great, buying it, cool. And companies count their money, and that's where you get things like this. Or I'm sorry, let me use a way better example. You get foolishness like this, okay? This game did not need to be that good. It didn't need to. But it's not only just good, it excels. It is a really amazing game. I highly recommend it. This is a little more expensive, about $30-ish complete in box if you want to buy it physically, but I'm telling you, well worth the dive. Please do yourself a favor, give it a shot. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video. I was like, it's an excuse to talk about Toy Story 3. So that's all the games I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. Toy Story 1, 2, Buzz Lightyear Star Command, Toy Story 3, Toy Story Racer. There's a lot of great ones out there, a lot of stinkers, as I said, but a iconic franchise that means the world to me, and I will always, forever adore it. And now here's to Lightyear coming out. I'm pumped for this one, so I'm going to go check out the movie. With that, what do you think of these Toy Story games? Fire away down below. And with that, I will catch all of you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.